So my husband says to me today, do you have a Super Bowl joke to open up with? And I said, is that the football thing happening today? And I figured that's enough of a joke. Although he said I might also toss this in. I said, who's playing? He says, well, the Patriots. I say, where are they from? He says, the East Coast. Who else is playing? The Rams. Oh, okay. Where are they from? He's like, you may not want to share that.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Oh, dear.
I don't follow football. I don't follow football. For a long time, I got football season and baseball season mixed up. I thought there was a baseball game after the Rose Parade. So I just don't pay attention. Okay, so today's the second day of our rainbow series. We're wearing orange. And I want to thank you, brave souls, for actually getting into some orange, right? Not everybody can pull it off like me. I can't, but everybody here looks very lovely in orange. So, man, good job, you guys. Last week we started with red, which is fate versus destiny. Now, fate is when we let things happen. Destiny is when we make things happen. We have to be able to trust in the activity of Spirit working through us, for us, as us, to be able to step into our destiny. Right? If we're not trusting in Spirit, if we don't have faith in Spirit, we tend to just let things happen as they will and hope for the best. But see, our soul is not designed to just wait for things to happen and hope for the best. Our soul is designed to bring the activity of Spirit from the realm of Spirit and through us. Right? So we are all about activity. So we honor ourselves when we have faith in what works within us, through us, as us. When we have faith in the activity of Spirit in all of our actions and in our lives, we honor ourselves. We also amp up our ability to share the gifts of grace in our life. Now, remember I said grace is the givingness of Spirit. Grace is the activity of Spirit, actually, always offering us right what we need, right in that moment. We don't have to do anything special to earn it. It's available to us right now. Whatever quality of Spirit we need, it's right there. We just have to be willing to allow it. Now, grace is also a noun and a verb. So when we are in a state of grace, that's the noun. We're in a state of grace, we're receiving the grace. We're allowing it to work in our lives, to direct us to the next brightest thing for ourselves. The activity of grace is when we are the eyes and the voice and the heart of God in this world, and we're grace generators, giving that grace to whoever might need it at that time. So being a grace generator, of course, is we have to be good receivers and we have to be good givers. And we can only be a good giver and a good receiver if we trust what is working through us, for us, as us. That is the only way. So generosity of Spirit is today, right? Orange is about generosity of Spirit. And being generous of Spirit is about lifting other people. It's about lifting them. It's about helping them move to the next brightest experience, because sometimes they don't trust it, right? They don't trust it. But when we trust what works through ourselves, and when we trust what works through the other person, we trust the activity of Spirit in them, no matter what they might be doing. We remember, oh yeah, Spirit is within them. We honor them. So when we honor ourselves, when we trust the activity of Spirit within us, we honor one another by trusting the activity of Spirit in all people, all right? Now what this means is that every relationship is important. All relationships that we are ever in have a sacred component, because we are seeing the activity of Spirit in somebody who maybe their behavior is not reflecting it. Maybe we see the activity of Spirit in someone who doesn't trust Spirit working through them, who thinks their dreams are wishful thinking. Okay, but we choose to see the activity of Spirit in them anyway. And sometimes we're the only one that will see that. When we see the activity of Spirit in anything or anyone, okay, it could be an event, right? It could be an event or a person. when we see the activity of spirit, we also call it forth. We call it forth. We are allowing an expression of spirit to come through whatever that situation might be. Now, we have a lot of relationships. We have the obvious relationships, family and friends, coworkers, acquaintances, maybe clients, doctors. If you went to the doctor last week, you saw a doctor and their nursing staff. But we also have relationships with people in passing, and we tend to learn a lot from them too, like other drivers, okay? People who may be shopping at the same place where we're shopping, all right? Maybe the person in line in front of us getting coffee. We're in a relationship with them just for the moment. But they all provide an opportunity for us to see spirit at work. I had to go to the doctor in December. Turned out I had bronchitis. But I was sitting there in the waiting room, and there were maybe 7 people there, and I was reading a book. But I was also tired, and I just wanted to stop coughing. And so I just closed my eyes for a moment, and I heard this man's voice. Are you okay? Do I need to call a nurse? And I opened my eyes to see who he's talking to, and he's looking right at me. He's like leaning right in front of me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. I'm okay though. I'm really tired, and I was just closing my eyes for a minute. But he saw the activity of spirit. He sat there and got all of us into conversation. Like pretty soon, people were all talking in that little area, right? We could have all sat and stared at our phones or hid behind our books, but this man was the activity, right? He was a grace generator. He was a grace generator. So to honor another person, we have to trust what is working through them. How we give to others will show us how much we trust what works through them. Okay, because how we give to others is very telling. We may not actually give as well as we think we're giving. We may give, but we're giving judgment, or we're trying to control what they do, thinking they don't know what's best. For example, say that somebody says that they want to buy a home right now, and maybe a friend reacts and says, are you kidding? The market is horrible right now. You have to be like not very smart about money to buy a house right now. Wait, are you kidding? Right? That's not trusting what works through them, right? How about a little girl? Maybe there's a little girl, and she tells her aunt she wants to be a ballerina. And the aunt says, well, you know, you're awfully big boned to be a ballerina. Maybe you should work on a farm instead. Right? Now, how giving is that? That's not. Okay, maybe somebody wants to be a writer for a living. They just have it in them. They just know they can be a writer. But maybe their partner or significant other says, well, as a hobby, right? Right? Because you don't want to give up a good job to be a writer. If we're controlling, trying to control the other person, trying to control what they do, if we're judging what they do, we're not seeing the activity of spirit at work within them. We're not trusting. And if we're not trusting spirit to work in them, if we think we know better than the spirit that inspired them in the first place, we need to back up. We need to back up. Now, when we have faith in the other person, of course, because we have tremendous faith in what's working through us also. When we have faith then in what's working in the other person, somebody may say, yeah, I want to buy a home right now when the market's really horrible. And you might just say, or anybody might just say, wow, you've been wanting a bigger place, or you've been wanting a smaller place. That's exciting, right? The little girl who wants to be a ballerina. Oh, I know how much you love dancing. That would be wonderful. I know how much you love dancing. Or the writer. You are a fabulous writer. I'm excited for you. So you're going to write fiction, nonfiction? What are you going to write? And then we can even follow that up with, well, what could I do? Is there something that I could help you with? Is there something you need from me? Right? Do I have something I could add into this? Because I'm so excited for you. Right? Is there any way I can help you now? So how are we giving that support? Are we giving it with judgment? Are we trying to control that person? Right? We want to look at that. We also give in a way that you might call energetic enabling. And I learned about this really as a mom. And I learned about it, like I learned how to fix it from my mom. Because what I wanted to do is like when your kid wants to get dressed, right? It's like, no, let me dress you so everything looks perfect, right? And my mom was like, oh yeah, I just let you guys just do whatever because I wanted you to get good at it. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant, right? So like I let my kids do the dishes and I was like, great job. And then I'd go in later when they couldn't see and I'd like clean things that still have like old oatmeal on them or whatever, right? Right? But see, have you ever had somebody in your life and you felt like you just had to do everything for them? Like you thought you saw their potential. You saw their potential, but if we're doing more for somebody than they're willing to do for themselves, we are not trusting Spirit at work in their life. And if we cannot trust Spirit at work in other people, we really are not trusting it in ourselves as much as we may think we are. We may also be limited in how we give to another. There's a story of this man who said, if my friend needed $1,000 to feed his family and pay his bills for the month, I would give him the $1,000. But if he asked to borrow $1,000 to start a business, I wouldn't loan him the money because he might succeed and do better than I'm doing. So sometimes people do not give because of this idea of competition. Now, I have a really good example of this from when I was a teenager. It was hard to think about it like things that we'd actually do as examples, but I'll tell you this and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so I was in high school and I had the same haircut, or basically, as my girlfriend. But my best friend, she always had the most perfect bangs. Perfect bangs. And I asked her, how do you do that? How do you do your perfect bangs? Oh, I don't really do anything with my hair. Well, you know, I knew she was using curling iron and all that. I don't do anything with my hair. She did not want my bangs to look as good as hers. So, when she asked me what color lipstick I was using, well, I didn't use lipstick. I had a little blush I'd put on my cheeks and I'd use the same blush on my lips. And then put like Vaseline over it, right? That was way back when, right? We used Vaseline for shiny lips. She says, Deanna, what's the lip color that you're using? Oh, I'm not wearing lip color. What was that? I'm not wearing any lip color because I wasn't. I was like wearing blush, but she didn't ask me that. So we want to look at that too, right? Are we worried that if we give somebody the help they need, that they'll go off and do better than us, right? If we're choosing not to help somebody just because of that, if we're afraid we're going to lose out on something because we've given somebody some help or support, we are not trusting the activity of Spirit. Because generosity of Spirit is about us helping each other. We increase that spirit when we help each other. We really need each other. We need each other. We belong to each other. Okay, we couldn't survive all by ourselves, all alone. But even though Spirit is at work in us, through us, as us, Spirit is also at work in everybody, so we don't have to be able to do the infinite number of things that are required in a day. None of us have to go out and crank up, electricity and turn the electricity on, right? We don't have to do all that. We don't have to make sure that gas is flowing into our home so we can heat up soup and go grow the oatmeal, right? We all need each other. And this is why relationship is so important, to see every relationship as having a sacred component. Confucius said, the man of perfect virtue, wishing to be established himself, seeks only to establish others. Wishing to be enlarged himself, he seeks also to enlarge others. Now, what we do for others, we do for ourselves. If we try to control somebody, we try to hold them back, or we judge them, we limit ourselves too. Automatic. We automatically limit ourselves. If we empower others, then we empower ourselves too. So generosity is when we take care of each other. Generosity is about our ability to increase the activity of Spirit. So we are not giving anything away where we'll eventually run out. We're not dividing anything. We are increasing it. The more we give, the more we have to give. That's the law. I don't know what law, but it is the law. The more we give, the more we have to give. Because what are we tapping into, really? When we give, we're tapping into the activity of Spirit. Is spirit limited in any way? No. Is spirit infinite in every way? Yes. So what we're giving out, we are just increasing. We get more and more and more to get. We're not going to be tapped out. So when we are giving with compassion and kindness, we're committing to being a grace generator. And we're committing to giving whatever anybody needs, whether they want to take it or not. You know, not everybody is going to be like, oh yeah, I want to go there. Some people are just going to be like, you're weird. That's strange. I don't need your help. I don't need whatever, right? But see, all of us, we're here to help each other and support each other. Because at any time, it may be us, it may be me that needs that support, right? That we need somebody else to reach out with their grace. Whatever you need, I have it right here. Now this helps us to keep being creative. Because see, we are creative beings, so we cannot be our creative self if we are not trusting in the activity of spirit within us and within everybody else. And when I say we're creative beings, I'm not talking about being an artist, although that's one expression of it. But being a creative being is about creating this life that we're living right now. We've been creating a life every single day since the day we were, well, not born, because we were kind of in somebody else's creation. We were with our mom's creation at that time, but we have been, or maybe we have, I don't know, that's another talk. Yeah. But we've been creating for a long, long time, okay? That's what we do. Don Miguel Ruiz says, you are living as an artist when your life is a work of art. When it's a conscious, living creation, it's always in process. That's our life. Our life is our beautiful creation. And how we create is through our divine nature. So we're creating by seeing the activity of spirit within us. We're creating when we see the activity of spirit in other people, because what we're generating out of us then is kindness, compassion, love, like all of that good stuff, prosperity, abundance, grace, wisdom. And all of us are meant to do that. All of us are doing that. Some people create through their family, through a circle of friends, through a garden, through a place where babies can be born. Or maybe where children are taught leadership skills, right? Like the modern leadership skills that we so need our young ones to grow up with. So we're always creating. Now, not creating versus creating is fate versus destiny. Not creating doesn't ask us to change anything, doesn't ask us to step up into anything. Creating asks us to change it, to do something different. So creating and not creating, it's powerful. And we know that blocked creativity is really bad for us. It makes us feel miserable. When we're not bringing into our lives what we want to bring into our life, if we feel like our dreams are wishful thinking, we are unhappy because we're not trusting in the activity of spirit within us. So it's hard to be happy. So when we don't have faith, we're not creating a life, we're not acting on inspiration, we're not calling forth our destiny. And somewhere, each of us, we know somebody who's struggling with this right now. We know somebody who's struggling with being a creator. We know somebody who's struggling with stepping into their destiny. They know what they want to do, but they're afraid to do it. They don't think it's possible. They think their dream is wishful thinking. They do not trust the activity of spirit within them right now. We all know somebody who was like that. And sometimes that's us. Sometimes it's us. Now, another thing about giving that love and support, sometimes we hold back because we don't know what to give that person. Or we think we have to fix them. We think we have to fix. And it's like, well, I don't know how to fix them, so I don't know what to do. But see, we don't need to know how to fix them. In fact, we don't even want to see them as needing to be fixed. Because when we see that there is the activity of spirit within them, as well as everybody else, they have within them that knows what to do, how to do it, and it compels them to act on what it knows, just like we have within us that knows what to do, how to do it, and it compels us to act on what it knows. Right? That other person has the same divine directive available to them. So we don't have to know what to say. We don't have to know what to do. We just let ourselves be guided. Just let ourselves be guided. And if the best we can do is just say, well, you know what? Anything I can do. What would be helpful? Would you like some soup? I mean, I could do soup. Maybe they'll ask. Maybe they will come right out and ask for something specific. So we just need to remember that we are all one. Okay, no matter the behavior of anybody outside of our circle, no matter their behavior, they still came from the same source that we came from. They're still the same expression of that same source. When we can honor that person and see the light in them, we are honoring each other. I just want to close with the story of Quan Yin, and this is a very short version. But you know Quan Yin, the goddess of mercy and compassion? How I heard it, how I remember it, is that she was born, on the day she was born, the ground trembled in her village, and flowers sprung up where there were snow-covered mountains. There were flowers everywhere. So the people of the village knew something very special had happened. And she did turn out to be a very special little girl. She was very compassionate and very kind and very tuned into the suffering of others. Her father, on the other hand, was not a very nice person. Eventually, he ends up choking her to death, and he sends her to hell. But she gets to hell, and she makes it so beautiful there that they send her back to the planet. Well, now she finds out her father's dying, and the only way he can survive is if he has the eyes of somebody who loves him. Well, his other daughters are like, I'm not giving you my eyes. Okay, Quan Yin sent him her eyes, and it healed him. Then Quan Yin was transformed into a goddess, and she got her eyes back and everything. She had the opportunity to go off to nirvana, to go into enlightenment and just be away from this place where it can be really hard. But she could still hear the prayers of the suffering. And she vowed that she would not go until we could all go. Now that's the story of Quan Yin. And that is the story of the generosity of spirit. We are here to lift each other, not fix each other. We're here to love and support each other. We're here to see that. We're here to see that light in other people for them and call it forth when they can't. In fact, that is the meaning of the greeting namaste, right? If you really think about it, when you say it to somebody, you're saying, I see the light in you. I see the spirit in you. I see that we are both the same spirit, however you see the translation, right? But that is what that means. And so our activity then as a grace generator is to honor each other and always see the spirit in each other. See that activity of spirit in everyone and in their life. And so until next time, remember that you are designed to give and to receive grace. You are designed to be in grace, and you are designed to be the activity of grace, sharing it with others. Everything you do, the way is made open for you. And so it is. Thank you.
Amen.